everybody. It's Hank Linderman here at Getting Angry. Wednesday, September 9th. You know, we've all got plenty of reasons to feel angry. But we don't want to act like damn fools. We want to act with some determination. We want to do the right thing. As you know, I'm running for Congress here in Kentucky's 2nd District. And you also know this is 21 counties: Davis, Hardin, Warren, Bullitt, Nelson, Barron, Boyle, Meade, Mercer, Breckenridge, Grayson, Hart, Hancock, LaRue, Washington, Garrett, Jessamine, Greene, Edmondson, Butler, Spencer. All in one breath. It's usually a little bit of work to do that. I see Bill is here, Cindy is here, Barbara is here, Roy Frazier is here. You all know what to do. Please share. Let's do the right thing. Let's hook a brother up, if you know what I'm saying. I really appreciate it. You know, there's so much to talk to you all about. And Mark Andes is here. Chris Pritchard is here. My goodness. I'm surrounded by friends. Randall Kirsch. You know, Randall, I'm just going to play the jingle that you did for Dr. Greg just because I love it so much. Dr. Greg isn't here. He's going to be back. We haven't worked out when. David is here. And here we go. Here's the jingle that Randall did.
Greg Adams, good Dr. Adams, ask Dr. Greg.
That's Dr. Greg Adams. We're going to be looking for him. A constitutional lawyer, Cindy is asking for. Well, that is interesting. I think I can find some attorneys who would talk to us, whether they are constitutional attorneys or not. I don't know. But I have several attorney friends that would be willing to look into this for us. So I think that's fascinating. And I haven't dug into that because I spent the last couple of hours working on a speech, because our dear friend Tony York, who is in the 2nd District, Tony York runs a restaurant called Tony York's on Main. It's in a little town called Glendale, but it's really part of Hardin County. It's right just south of Elizabethtown. And when you're in that area, you really owe it to yourself to go have dinner at Tony's. Tony's a great guy. He's a great Democrat as well. And he makes what I call mental health food. You feel good eating it, and it's good for you. It's really good. Anyway, he said to me, you know, would you do me a favor and make a commercial about what you believe and where you stand? So I thought, well, that's really interesting. I think maybe I'll just do that today. I'll talk to you about that. So that's going to be the main part of my presentation today. I bet tomorrow we will be digging in a bit to the Bob Woodward stuff. We do have a guest tomorrow. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, let's look at our dreadful numbers. As we know, the numbers are funny coming off of the weekend because, you know, for various reasons. Sometimes it's testing facilities are behind the times. Sometimes it's because of the weekend, and we had a long weekend this weekend. Sometimes it's because just the counting over the weekend isn't as quick. But notice the ugly number, 194,030 people dead. We've crossed over to another 1,000 people. We're going to be at 200,000 people dead before we know it. Number one in the world, no one else even close. We're, I guess the closest is Brazil with 127,000. Let's have a look at the top states at the moment as well. And you'll notice California remains at the top in terms of the number of cases, but boy, Texas is getting close, and so is Florida. In number of deaths, Texas has actually moved into the front currently, although we can't see New York, but New York had quite a number of total deaths. And yes, we can see New York, 33,000. That's they've gotten themselves under control, but they were certainly hit very, very hard early on. So I'm going to show you a picture. This is our guest who's going to be here tomorrow. And I have to tell you, this picture shocked me. The person we're going to have on is named Afton Ben, and she is the director for Indivisible. You remember Indivisible, don't you? That's Indivisible. They endorsed me, and I'm so happy that so honored and thrilled that they endorsed me. But Afton, I told Afton we're going to be just doing a telephone interview. It'll be very friendly. It'll be nice, and then we just need a picture for everybody to look at. Here's what Afton sent. There she is. I don't know what to say about that. I've never seen Afton look like that ever in my life. Afton, I think it's incredible. What's the dog's name? I have so many questions. And I think we'll have questions for Afton tomorrow when she shows up. But she'll be talking about Indivisible. And if you don't know about Indivisible, I would ask you to look them up. They are an activist group that kind of came to the forefront after President Trump got elected. They are nonpartisan, meaning they don't necessarily favor Democrats over Republicans, but it seems to be they're pretty close to being the progressive arm of the Democratic Party. They're a very active group across the country, like I say, and it's a great group of people. And I've met with Indivisibles from all over the state of Kentucky, and I've talked to Indivisible folks from all over the United States. So anyway, in response to Tony York saying, what do you stand for, man? Tony is getting asked by people, I don't know that much about Hank. And of course, we don't have millions of dollars, so we're not able to spread our word maybe as far as we would like to. So here we go. I'm gonna tell you about it, and we're gonna focus mostly on the contract for rural and working America today. Most of you all are familiar with this, and you can find this at my website, which is hank4ky.com. And if you look under issues, you'll find the contract for rural and working America. So here goes. Here's Tony. This is what you can share with folks when they want to know what I stand for. I'm a Democrat. I'm running for Congress in Kentucky's 2nd district. This is a district that used to be solidly Democratic back in the days of Bill Natcher. But the Democratic Party lost touch in rural and working America. Years ago, the Democratic Party stopped fully investing in rural districts like the 2nd. Some of this was understandable. Democrats had been unable to win in many rural districts, and so they made the tactical decision to spend their resources elsewhere. This might have made sense for an election or two, but they stayed away for too long. They lost their way. By 2016, Democrats weren't even in the discussion in much of rural America. Democrats used to support working people. They used to keep Wall Street and the big banks in line. They tackled the big issues, like racial inequality, like poverty, like rural electrification. They even created Social Security and Medicare. So I believe that Democrats need to recover their roots to once again be the party of working people, the party that's willing to do a better job of balancing things between businesses and people, and to improve the social safety net for all Americans. That's why I created, with lots of help, the contract for rural and working America. Now, it starts with health care. We need health care that's much less expensive, that's much easier to use, that covers everyone honestly, and that gives much better results. In rural America, we need to restore hospitals that have been shut down. Instead of driving as much as 2 hours to get care, rural Americans, rural Kentuckians, need hospitals in their communities. They need hospitals where they live. I believe we need a national child care system, one that would provide safe and reliable child care for all who need it, for working people who need to know their children are safe while they are at work. We also have lots of work to do in improving our educational system. There are a lot of people who know more about farming than me, many people who know a lot more about farming than I do, and there are people that are smarter than me. But how smart do you have to be? How much do you need to know to understand that farmers are getting screwed? They're up against the weather, and they're up against the market, and now they're up against the well-intentioned but misguided actions of the federal government. Tariffs have solved nothing. They've made the farmers' lives much more difficult. Countries that used to buy soybeans from Kentucky are now buying them from South America. These are customers who are not coming back, and Kentucky's farmers have gotten the raw end of the deal. We need to support small, subsistence, family, and cooperative farms in Kentucky and in the rest of the nation. We can do this with price supports, with nonprofit disaster insurance, with a national nonprofit credit union for farm and equipment purchases, and by encouraging local production and consumption of food. I believe we need to rebuild our national supply chain, beginning with strategic industries like semiconductors, aluminum, and steel. Our infrastructure needs attention as well, from crumbling roads and bridges to schools, libraries, and public parks. I believe workers are significantly underpaid, and this is making life more and more difficult for people who work. The hours are too long, the wages are too low, and this needs to change. I support a $15 an hour minimum wage. We have allowed trickle down to dominate public policy for decades. It's time now for a significant amount of trickle up. A tree that gets water only on its leaves will die. We must water the roots if the tree is to live. And workers in declining or rapidly changing industries need support as well. It isn't the workers' fault when the coal company goes out of business, when the factory is moved to the Far East, when huge corporations are allowed to shut down entire businesses through anti-competitive practices. Look what Walmart did to Kentucky's dairy farmers. They shut them down in just one summer. We must stop the damage we have done to the climate. This is the most important issue we all face. The weather is changing. We are all experiencing it. We don't have time left. We don't have much time left to preserve our beautiful planet for our children and our grandchildren. We need new industries. Renewable energy is a rapidly growing category of business, and there's no reason for Kentucky to be left behind. We have plenty of energy workers. Let's get them started on setting up and running massive solar farms, on producing synthetic kerosene from air and recaptured carbon. Let's set up wind farms on strip-mined mountaintops. We need rural broadband, the same way we need water and power. Here we are in a pandemic, needing to educate our children online, but we simply don't have the infrastructure. 30% of America is without broadband. This cannot continue. And while there's virtually no opposition to this idea, so far, corporate America has been unwilling to get the job done. Fine. We will do it. And let's have the post office make it happen. The post office exists to connect us all, to enable communication across this great land. Yes, the post office needs to be modernized. What better way than to build the best broadband infrastructure in the world? This will be an investment in us, the American people, and it will preserve one of our oldest and most important institutions. Addiction, far too much of it prescribed by huge pharmaceutical companies, has devastated families across America. We need to decriminalize addiction. We must send people to rehab instead of prison. Families with addicted family members need our support as well. This will be an exceptionally difficult job with very difficult choices. To stop the alarming amount of deaths by overdose, I support safe daily maintenance doses of opioids for addicts. Cannabis needs to be rescheduled away from Schedule 1. It is not the same as heroin or the same as LSD. Cannabis should be regulated, it should be taxed, and it should be legal. Finally, I support the creation of a new cabinet-level position to advise the President, the Secretary of Rural Affairs. The goal of this position is to aid in restoring, rebuilding, revitalizing, and reinvigorating the lives of those who live in rural America. And let me say, when we restore, revitalize, rebuild, reinvigorate rural America, it will benefit the rest of America as well. We cannot survive only focusing on those with money. We must focus on those at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. We must do the right thing for people who work. We must focus on trickle up. So this is where I stand. This is what I believe. I'm asking you for your help. You can help me make Kentucky and America a place where we can do more than survive, where we can fulfill our potential, where we can thrive in a land built on equality, sustainability, and justice. I'm going to have more to say on equality and justice at another time. Thank you all for listening to that. That's kind of all I have to say today. I want to let you know that tomorrow, of course, we've got Afton again. Let me find her picture. Let's see if this is Afton. Afton's going to be here tomorrow talking about indivisible. It should be a very interesting conversation. Remember, everybody, we have a lot of work to do if we have any expectation of restoring our democracy, of saving our democracy from someone who's willing to completely pull apart any normal way of doing business. 100 million Americans did not vote in 2016. We need to make a change there. You can make a difference, and you've only got a little bit of time. You know what? We can sleep after November 3rd. Make sure you're voting. Make sure you know how to do it. By the way, let me call up this picture of, for those of you who are in Kentucky, here's how you register to vote. Here's how you do it. You go to govotekentucky.com. If you just type in govotekentucky.com, that will let you register. That will let you check to be sure that you're registered. If you're not already registered, you can request a ballot. You can find out how to vote. Be sure you do it. Please do it today if you haven't done it. And please do the country a favor and help get other people registered. Make sure they're ready to vote. That's, I read a great column today from the Bulwark, and I'm going to try and remember what the basic idea was. I think it was Charles Sykes said, look, this cake is not only baked, the election is already baked. He said, not only is it baked, there's icing on it and candles on it. This cake is finished. Everybody knows who Donald Trump is. And they've already decided that they want Joe Biden. But the X factor in all of this is the difficulty that's been put in front of us as far as voting, the mechanical difficulties of the pandemic, the mechanical difficulties of voting by mail, of showing up someplace having to wear a mask, will there be a line, and so on and so on. So that's the only fly in the ointment. So it is critical that you get out. And I want you to understand, don't be fooled by this margin that has Joe Biden up by 7 or 9 points or whatever. Pretend we're 2 points behind. Pretend Joe Biden and the Democrats are 2 points behind, and act accordingly. Please register today. Please resolve yourself to make sure that your voice is heard. It's going to be too late on November 4th. And actually, it's going to be too late on October 5th in the state of Kentucky if you aren't registered. So that's it. Thank you all for being here. I love you all. And remember, let's hang on to our tempers. Let's not lose our damn minds when they're doing the right thing. You can get angry, but you need to build up your determination. See y'all tomorrow.